Hello there, my crafty friends. It's Ashley Pfeiffer, the maker behind Stamped AF. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. If this is your first time here, welcome. Having a bad hair day, so you're just getting my hands today. And not even, like, good hands. I mean, the polish is still on there, but it's due for a manicure. Okay, so I am showing you this adorable card. This month for the Global Stampin' Video Hop, we are featuring trending. And I thought, what better trending item than a mini Slimline card? And I also want to do some ink blending with stencils. Now, in the Stampin' Up! World, they're called masks, but we are going to use this adorable little mermaid scale tail thing. And I'm bringing in a couple of products, but they're all oh so necessary. So obviously we have the mermaid. So that is Pirates and Mermaids. We're going to use her. That sentiment, "You are so mermazing," is great. I really wanted something to fill up the space. So we've got "You are mermazing." I saw one, well, I was looking up mermaid quotes, and the one that always comes to mind is, always be yourself unless you can be a mermaid. And then, of course, be a mermaid. The other one that was so cute and I was so tempted was "Shell yeah." But I thought it might be too risque. So "You are mermazing." And then on the inside, I brought in "Friends are like seashells" for the sentiment. You are unique and completely amazing. Because, I mean, mermaids are, right? And then the one that I forgot to show you is "Nothing's better than," because to get "You are," we are going to use the "Love You More Than" die, which gives us the "you," and then we're going to do some surgery in there. And then, of course, we have the playful alphabet dice. So yes, it is a lot of product, but so worth it. And I've also got an envelope. This is from the Host DSP Pattern Party. And it's just so stinking cute, isn't it? Like, come on. I was tempted to put the mermaid scales on here, but I think it's close enough color-wise that it kind of works. And I will tell you, I totally cheated. So for my sample card, I'm not sure if you can see the shimmer, but I used some of the now retired shimmer, what is it? Shimmer mist, champagne mist, and I sprayed it on there. But I thought, okay, if you don't have that, then that's not fair, right? So I went ahead and I used some of the shimmery cardstock, and I have used my blending brush, and I've already blended it to be Pool Party. It starts off as, it's not quite white. It's kind of like a very vanilla type thing. Anyways, I have gone ahead, see? How perfect are those? Even though that's mint macaron and this is Pool Party, I figured they were going to work perfectly. So this has a lot of steps, so I'm just going to leave my card there and we're going to get started. So I have my grid paper here, and you can see that I've already done some blending. I'm going to bring in my mask, and this is just a little bit too small, but I also want these to be on an angle. So what I'm going to do is just run the smallest little bit of Stampin' Seal on my grid paper, and that will keep that in line. There shouldn't be any impression, but I mean, we'll see. Okay, so I am going to tape this down now. Obviously, we are going to have to move this if we want that pattern to be over there. And that is just fine. Now, because I have already inked this up with Pool Party, and I thought this was a little bit too light the first time, so that's why I'm doing this. But because I've already inked it up with Pool Party, I am bringing in Bermuda Bay, where the last time it was just Coastal Cabana and Fresh Freesia. So I will start with some Coastal Cabana, and it will have to be darker this time. It just has to be. Let's move this over here. Okay, so you can see that I didn't go in any real pattern. I've got Fresh Freesia there, 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 there. So we're just going to kind of spread it around. Ooh, that covered better than I thought. Now all I need to do is line this up again, and it's so easy to do. Going to stamp our mermaid, and the rest of it goes together quite quickly. It's really the coloring and the inking that take so much time. Okay, so I've stamped it twice just because I was right there. So I'm going to grab the same colors that I used for my background. Now, we don't have Coastal Cabana, so what I do is I take my light Bermuda Bay and dark Pool Party, and that will usually suffice. Now, in this instance, I've also used dark, like I've used Bermuda Bay, so I might as well bring in the dark. I'm going to use light Petal Pink for her skin. We've got Calypso Coral for her hair. She's a little Ariel-like. I've got Polished Pink for her flower and Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And I believe that's it. I know that looks like a lot, but it takes no time at all. So I'm not going to color both. The one is strictly backup. Change my mind. I want Petal Pink light as well. Now, because this is such a small area, you don't want to stay in any one spot too long because it will start to bleed. If you look at my sample, where was it? Right at her neck started to bleed. So it's already bleeding this time too. You really don't get a lot of time to blend. So now what I'll do is I will line this up on my plate. Okay, so I am going to fussy cut this quickly. Probably seems like I'm all over the place, but I want to be able to put her on before I lay out my letters. I do really wish there was a die for this. Okay, I think that is good enough. I like to just run my thumbnail along the edges to soften it up. If you get any parts that are a little bit too rough, just take a nail buffing block, although it's tricky with something this small. Okay, so we still have to make the card base and the envelope, so I better get moving, huh? Now, because she is on this pool party card base this time, I am going to take my light Pool Party and just color in all of the white. I like to do that on die cuts or fussy cut pieces so that they blend in more. I know some like that stark white look, but I want her to blend. I know she's a mermaid, she stands out, but I don't want it to be my white fussy cutting edge that draws your eye first. Okay, so we'll lay her over there. I really don't love my not crisp lines. Do like the range of color, but I mean, look how much it stood out on there. That background is very subtle. This one is very in your face. The myrrh is not standing out. Okay, so when I do this part, I am going to use adhesive sheet this time because I didn't the last time and it was a pain in the butt to glue. And then with this, I've got an L square here that I will use to line up my letters when I adhere them, but that will be enough to just rip that off. I'll run this through my die cutting machine and I'll be right back. So I do find that when I use the adhesive sheets that things stay together in the, like the die part. Okay, so I just cut between the O and the R, and then we need this A. Cut it a little bigger than I need it. And we need all of you. All of you. Now, if it starts coming off the release paper, then just place it down, but make sure that you get any little pieces that aren't supposed to be in there out. It is a lot easier now versus later. This might have looked better in white this time, but I wanted to bring in the little bit of black from her bikini top and have it stand out. So now we can take the, let's take the A first. And I need to cut off this little scripty part. That should be okay. And then the RE, the only part that stayed on the release paper. That should be good, but you can just dry fit it before you place it down. And try and think of words that you have that you can use to create other words. We don't have an alphabet stamp anymore with Stampin' Up! And I really wanted to be able to create these words, so Love You More Than had what I needed. Okay, so we can pop this little lady up on some dimensionals. I will admit I went totally overboard. I had more the first time. This will do. So we know that that will fit, but let's put her a little bit further over anyways. And now, I did it again. When I did this the first time, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have popped her up yet. But I did. So now what I will do, she's still glued on there. I am going to keep it where this is lined up on my grid paper. It might be cute if they're not perfectly straight. Another time. So this is where I said using the adhesive sheets would come in handy, but these letters are thick enough that it gives you some freedom. Okay, so cute. I feel like she could have been a little bit further over, but it's too late now. Okay, well, I hope that made it a little easier to read. I can definitely say that there's a big difference between the light background and the dark. So I think some foam adhesive or some foam sheets under there would have been a good idea. But some things you don't know until you get going and you see that it's not quite working. So to make the card base, which, I mean, 100 times, 99 times out of 100, I make first. We are going to start with a piece of basic white thick, and we are going to cut it down to 6 1/4. And then we are going to score it at 3 1/2. Score, not cut. And then we'll cut off that little piece. So it is 7 by 6 1/2. And this is a mini slimline card. I actually trimmed just a little bit off of there because my mat was not the right proportion. You would have never known that if I hadn't just held it up. So this one fits perfectly. Perfect. Now, the one thing I haven't done, and I might as well go ahead and adhere this now, is we're going to put some Wink of Stella on our little mermaid, our little Ariel. I figured once I said Little Mermaid, I might as well say Ariel, right? And I'm going to put it on her hair and her bikini, her scales, everywhere but her skin. And I might do more than one coat. I don't know if you can see it. It's always so hard to capture. And we don't need to put a stink of Wella on our glimmer paper because it's already shiny, but look at the amount of Stella on her now. Can you see? Okay, we need to stamp our sentiment on the inside, and then I will show you the envelope quickly. Who knew this was going to take so long? Well, it's taken me a while to get it to where I was happy with it, so I guess I knew it was going to take so long. Okay, so there's our card. Let me know in the comments below which one you love. I want something in between. I want this to be darker, but this is too dark. I think putting all of that Coastal Cabana on top of Pool Party, and it was like a dark pool party already, was a little too much. But live and learn, right? Got a 12 by 12 of the Pattern Party DSP. If you're looking for the B side, it's actually probably easier to find it that way, but it is the mint macaron paper. So we are going to cut this down to 8 by 8 3/4. Now you can get away with doing 8 1/2. It just means that your top flap won't be as long, which is fine. But I'm going to stick with my 8 3/4. And then you end up with two great pieces you can use for something else. So while we have it this way, I am going to score at 7 1/2. So it's just lined up down here. And then 1 1/8. So I find it easier to just line that up here. And then on the 8-inch side, we're going to score at, 2 3/8. Watch, I probably just did the wrong measurement. And 6 inches. So while you have it on the trimmer, if you would prefer to use your trimmer, you can trim up to that first score line and then move it up, come from the top and go to that first score line. And then we will do the same on that 2 3/8 inch score line. So come down, slide it down, come up. And you can do the same with your trimmer to do this, but we need to miter these edges just a little bit. So I like to just use scissors. And I'm going to use my little guitar shorties. A couple snips, but that's okay. So we're going to miter it just a little bit. You don't want to do too much, because if you do too much, your flap won't cover it. Didn't cut right on the line. Okay, so we're going to do the same up here, but again, not taking off too much. Okay, so now we can fold and burnish those score lines, and you can see just how quickly this comes together. Okay, so we've got the dark Coastal Cabana Pool Party, or we've got the white. Like I said, I really want something in between. But I thank you so much for watching, and please consider hitting that subscribe button below if you haven't already. You'll catch a new video, at least one video each and every week. Sometimes, like this week, you'll catch 2. So my video from this week was my craft room tour. So if you'd like to check that out, please do. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.